Today, we're actually building out the town and adding a more dense center to Steamcut Hollow. Welcome to a new video on the Create World, and today we're starting out strong. We're going to get some more houses built up, but before we do any of that, we need to plan out some buildings and a town layout. The entire premise of this town is that these are the homes of factory workers. And I quite like the cottage vibe that we are getting from the vanilla ones. We'll use the vanilla roads as well, but they need to be widened a bit, and we'll connect them at certain points where they're not connected. To connect up to the houses on the mountainside, we'll set up a system of staircases and terraform some of the platforms out a bit more so that we have some more space for roads and stuff. And that gives us a nice rough idea of where we can add some houses. I don't want to add too many extra buildings, but this little area where we have the iron farm is going to be the center of the town, and I want it to be rather dense. The houses are going to be quite a bit bigger than vanilla houses, but I think that'll add the necessary variety that I want. For the first house, we're going to be raising up the floor with some nice cobbled tuff. That way we can use the crawl space later this episode. We'll frame out the main building with some dark oak, and the walls are going to be made up with some stripped spruce logs. This building is one of the bigger ones, but that's because I'm planning to put a little farm in the basement, so I do need to real estate. The roof is going to be a standard slope, using some slabs that we can texture with a combination of chipped mangrove planks and some chipped netherrack bricks. The windows are the same as the ones that we have in the iron farm building, and we can spruce up the flat wall with a balcony, and then it's just a matter of adding in some railings on some certain spots, adding a staircase, and so on. And that's that. That's the first building done for today. But before we get to the farm, I'm going to be building up some of the smaller buildings at the back of this one. These smaller buildings are going to be a mix of the ones that we're custom building and the vanilla ones. This means we'll be using cobbled tuff and some of the copycat blocks, but most of these walls and buildings are going to be made out of spruce logs, planks, and some of the vanilla blocks that we have. And that's a pretty simple building, so let's speed through the next couple of houses and I'll get back to you when it gets interesting. We're currently under the first house that we worked on, and we're making some space for the little farm. I am getting some lag spikes, so bear with me while I struggle through this. Since this is going to be very choppy, I am going to explain this while I get everything in place. These last farms that we're setting up today are meant to fill in some of the blocks that we haven't been producing over at the farm area. What we're doing over here is producing blackstone by haunting cobblestone, deep slate by pressing the cobble in a cauldron with lava, and we're also going to set up a cauldron so that we can press purple blocks. To do that, we do need a system that cooks chorus fruit, so I've hooked up the infinite lava farm all the way over here, and we're also getting some power. We also need to hook up the cobblestone farm, and I think we should be able to split off from the belt that is going through the iron farm, and we'll just pump it straight into the drawer system. The chorus fruit is a bit of a different thing. We'll set up an item receiver so that we can use teleporters and send chorus fruit over here from Beardstone. Over in Beardstone, we'll split off the output from the chorus fruit farm and set up the item teleporter to send it over to Steamcut Hollow. And with a little work on the walls and the floor, we have a decent basement that is producing 3 more blocks for us. That was a good little break from building houses, but we do need to get the rest in place, so here's the next few houses for you guys. This last building we set up is going to house one of the last farms in the area. We already have the small obsidian farm at Beardstone, but it's not keeping up, and secondly, it keeps spilling the obsidian all over the place. So let's set up a new and improved design. First of all, we need to get some lava in here, so we'll dig out a tunnel spanning from the deep slate farm over to the new building, and set up a tank to kind of have a backlog of lava at all time. On the first floor, we'll set up some presses that are going to press the lava into magma blocks. At the side of the magma setup, we can rig up the washing station. This will turn the magma blocks into obsidian. Now it's just a matter of getting all the power installed, and that should do it. At this moment, I think we have all the blocks that I can farm. I'm not sure. If I've missed some, let me know in the comments below. But let's get started on some of these finishing touches for this town. First things first is cleaning up these platforms. As usual, we're using rounded deep slate bricks to wall off the areas that we've terraformed before. Most of these areas are going to be very simple, as we're not really going to walk around here, but it'll tie everything together, and yeah, in some of these areas it's pretty tricky, and it might look a bit wonky, but you know, it'll be fine. We'll get used to it. We'll use these industrial iron railings to make the platforms a tad bit safer, but also to tie them in with the staircases. And then it's on to the roads. We'll use the same design as we did in the farm area, so let's get rid of all the path blocks and replace them with the sanded and eroded tuff. Again, this is not the most exciting thing to do, so I'll just skip forward to some other stuff. Now that the roads are in, I want to trim them off with some of these stone blocks. That way it's a bit cleaner and we don't have to replace all the grass blocks. I was working on the last few houses and I thought let's do the last one together for good measure. I'm going to put down an L shape out of cobblestone and we'll trim off the first floor with some dark oak blocks. For the second floor we'll use spruce logs as a frame and the stripped ones for the actual walls. For the roof we'll set up a barrel shape with our standard textures, and now it's just adding in all the bits and bobs like windows and stuff like that. And we should be ready. That's the last building. Now we just need to do some decorations. And that's the town. It's looking good. I like that we have this little sit down area for the restaurant. We have some benches in the grass to sit down and relax. We have a little marketplace. But most of all, I like that this little bunch of houses in the center feels like a close-knit, dense community. That said, I do think that I will have to call the episode right here. I hope you've enjoyed it enough to subscribe and like this video, but I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!